Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, 5 Revolutionary Ways to Dominate Mobile in 2014. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealeron. And for anyone who isn't familiar with Dealeron, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency. And we're best known for our search engine optimization, our amazing customer service, and our award-winning websites. At the last NADA, Dealeron received the Best in Show Award for website design from Dealer Marketing Magazine. Dealeron was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2011, 2012, and 2013. And Dealeron customers have been winners of the Digital Dealer Website Excellence Award's highly coveted overall winner, an unprecedented 5 times in a row. We're the only website company that can claim that. Dealeron is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So, does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have such a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Ben Anderson as our presenter today. Ben Anderson is the president of Automotion TV Dealer App, which develops innovative mobile marketing solutions for the automotive industry. He's responsible for leading, developing, and growing a company that leads in mobile app technology for the dealership market. Ben has received several awards for his innovative work, including the 2011 Minnesota Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award from the U.S. Small Business Administration, the 2006 Regional Collegiate Entrepreneur from the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards, and the 2005 Student Entrepreneur of the Year Award from the University of St. Thomas. Ben Anderson speaks nationally on mobile and emerging technology, and he can be reached at ben@automotionweb.com or at 877-705-0914. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we'll respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends at Automotion TV Dealer App are giving away an amazing prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to be winning a $100 Apple gift card. Who couldn't use that? All you have to do is stay tuned for details after Ben's presentation, and you could be walking away with this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey, so please fill it out because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. Today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Let's learn 5 revolutionary ways to dominate mobile in 2014. Mr. Ben Anderson, how are you? So nice to have you on the show again.
Eliana, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. And yes, Ben and I just saw each other recently, last week, last weekend at NADA, and you were looking very fine. I hope it was a great show for you. And I'm sure mobile was on the top of everyone's minds. This is the big thing that all dealerships need to hop on. If you're not really fully invested in mobile, I don't know what you're waiting for. So why don't you tell everyone, Ben, the kinds of things that we are going to be learning about today?
Thanks, Eliana. Yeah, mobile is just becoming this huge tidal wave, and it's really great to see, and it's something that really every dealership needs to have already started paying attention to, and I really think invest some more time because of its value for your future, both in 2004 and beyond. So today, we've got 5 main bullet points. First of all, I want to go over mobile and how mobile is massive. And we've got some data that we want to share, and I think it'll really open your eyes. And this data is going to be a mix from Google, Nielsen, some app analytics companies to really showcase how fast that mobile revolution is moving. We'll talk about number 2, why an app? Why an app for the customer? What's the value there? And then maybe why an app for the dealership as a marketing channel? We'll talk about that value to the dealer in step 3. We'll cover app promotion and how important that is in an effective strategy. And then 5, mobile is still a new marketing channel. And so analytics, in my opinion, really are the heartbeat of any new marketing initiative to really justify the value and the opportunity going forward. And to let everybody know, my colleague Josh Knutson from the marketing side over here at AutoMotion TV Dealer App is going to be hosting a live Q&A. So go ahead, grab your mobile devices, use that hashtag AutoMotion TV Insights, and Josh will be on Twitter throughout the session. So if you have questions related to that, maybe it's the data or where the source is coming from, Josh is going to be happy to handle those for you. Okay, now it's time for my big, bold, earth-shattering statement.
This is it? We're going right here? Oh, whoa.
The website is dying.
Let's
now,
slow your roll there, Ben.
Idiot, before you think I'm a total idiot and you hang up on the webinar and take off, let me explain myself. But I think that is an interesting statement. Certainly it's overreaching and not meant to be taken literally. But let's get behind the statement and see, really break it down and what it means. Today, as a marketer, you have so many channels to deliver your message. And the website is a really, really big portion of that and provides a lot of value and still does today. But what I want to challenge you with is the fact that all of these channels are continuing to get more and more crowded so that your customer has to access or gets a message delivered not just by one channel, not just by two, but many, many channels. And the website and its effectiveness in some ways is giving way to mobile and its effectiveness as a delivery channel. So I'm going to challenge you today to take a look, really a new look at mobile and see how the oncoming tidal wave really affects you in your marketing efforts going forward. Okay, let's start in on some of the data around mobile. Now, like I said, I'm going to be using some data from Google Think Insights, Google Playbook, Nielsen data. Flurry is the #1 apps analytics provider, and we'll look at a combo of this. A lot of these sources for data will be cited, and like I said, you can ping Josh if you'd like to get a little more on the sample size and some other things. Let's start with this. Mobile search rises. The percent of purchasers who used mobile for auto information. Take a look all the way left in yellow. In 2011, those who were purchasers who used mobile to do automotive information search was 6%. 2012, it jumped to 26%, and then in 13, up to 35%, a 460% rise. And we see this trend over and over again in a lot of different data points. Next, auto shoppers are doing more research than ever. We talked about those channels to deliver the message. This is another Google study. On average, auto shoppers are using 24 research touch points while in the shopping process. Really, really amazing. Let's take a look at mobile search activity pre-purchase. Now, we've got a lot of data and charts up here. But the one thing I want to make clear, in mobile search, for these customers, these auto shoppers pre-purchase, you, the dealer, are a major part of it. Look at #1. It's dealer sites, not manufacturer sites. Customers, before they take an action, want to interface with you both online as well as on their mobile devices. Let's take a look at mobile research and research prep and how it translates to the lot. We have two different phases here. On the left, we have the research and comparison phase. What this means is these are those folks who are a little earlier in the process. What did they do while on their mobile device? Well, we can see #1 is they review a description of a specific model at 36%. Think VDP pages. Secondly, they looked at the consumer-generated review. And thirdly, maybe they contacted someone to get their opinion. So that's early on in the process. Now let's funnel it down to those who are more serious, who are looking at pricing and are ready to buy, and that's in the blue. We can see #1 is checking the price of a car or truck at 42%, looking up a dealer address or hours, and looking for discounts and offers. And remember, this is all on mobile devices. This is the information that they need on the go and something that they need quick and easy access to. Okay, next, mobile drives action. This is quite a statement. 84% of follow-up actions by mobile search occur within 5 hours. Bigger number to me is that blue 63% number. 63% occur in less than an hour. And what this means is that consumer who has their mobile device is ready to take an action. Not in days, not in weeks, not in months. Literally a next step action, and whatever that is, within an hour. Other data. This is not a specific mobile study, or I'm sorry, this is not a specific automotive study, more just based upon mobile, but mobile searches trigger quick online and offline actions. And you can see in this case, call a business at 56% is done in less than 1 hour in red. Visiting a store, 51% less than an hour. Sharing information, 59%. Visit retailer website, so on and so forth. From Google's Think Insights, 93% of people who used mobile to research move on to make a purchase. Let me read that again. 93% of people who used mobile to research move on to make a purchase. This is data that's new. This was not the case from a perspective 3 years ago. Mobile really is becoming an effective channel for us as retailers. Let's take a look at app usage. This is Flurry Analytics. Flurry Analytics is one of the largest mobile analytics providers with millions of apps as well, millions of usage sessions and hundreds of thousands of apps under their belt from a data perspective. And we can see in green that app usage overall grew in 2013 by 115%. Now here's a statement that doesn't necessarily relate to us in the automotive market, but I think it's worthwhile to note. Cyber Monday sales via mobile increased 55% over last year. Now, we all heard that, yes, more and more people are not maybe going to the brick and mortars from Black Friday. They were going online to purchase things. But this, Cyber Monday sales via mobile increased 55% over last year. That's just the mobile section or mobile component of that number. Okay, from Google combined with Nielsen data, 87% of consumers' mobile internet use came from an app. Whoa, hold on. Read that again. 87% of consumers' mobile internet use came from an app. That's a massive number. And so as you start thinking about that, what do you use your mobile device most for? And depending upon what it is, for a lot of people it might be Facebook, it might be Twitter, it might be YouTube. And in a lot of cases, for those of you with smartphones, you're doing it within an app. And a lot of the stuff you're doing within that app is media heavy. So that stat starts to make a little more sense. In green, 90% of people move between devices to complete a task. We call this multi-screen. So in other words, maybe the action initiated on the smartphone, and then the user grabbed their tablet, and then maybe they went to their laptop in any one of those orders. The point is, multi-screening is becoming a thing where users are using multiple screens to gather the information that they need. Next, let's talk about cross-shopping. Cross-shopping is now the norm. 72% of search sessions involve cross-shopping. If we break it down into the mobile section, mobile actions taken while shopping, we can see here from an automotive study that while cross-shopping, the number one thing they did was viewed images of cars and trucks. Second was calling the dealer. Third, reading consumer reviews. Fourth, viewing current offers. And I want you to take note of that viewing current offers section. Specifically, when we talk about cross-shopping, viewing current offers and incentives comes up over and over again. So with that, I've talked for a bit here. Eliana, I'd like it if you could to ask our audience a couple of questions that would help give me some insight.
That's awesome. Wait, we're doing two questions? Just one question right now?
We're doing, well, just one right now.
Okay, one right now. Audience, we have a lot of poll questions coming your way today, so I hope your ears are perked up and you're ready to go, because the first one is coming your way. Please look on your screen, and let's see if you can answer this question for us. Help us out a little bit. The first question today is, what percentage of your customers are using their phone while they're in the dealership? Please select one of the following. What percentage of your customers are using their phone while in the dealership? Is it less than 10%? Is it somewhere between 10 and 25%? Is it between 25 and 50%? Is it more than 50%? Or maybe you haven't even been looking, you have no idea. Whatever the answer is, well, we want to know, and we're going to take a poll, and once we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And while I appreciate you writing in and telling me your answers, if there's any way you could actually click on the radio buttons on your screen, that would really help us out. I will say, though, that if you are watching this broadcast on a tablet, that probably is not a feature that you would actually have access to, so I do appreciate the feedback, though. And you know what? Almost everyone's voted. Ben, if you're ready, I will close this poll.
Right. I'm excited.
All right, here we go. Boom. Overwhelming majority. 52% of today's audience said that more than 50% of the customers use their phones while in their dealerships. Now, not far behind, well, actually kind of far behind, 28% of today's audience said it was more like 25 to 50%. 9% of today's audience said it was between 10 and 25. No one thought that it was a sliver of them, less than 10%. But we did have 12% of today's audience who said they had no idea how many people were using their phones while in the dealership.
Wonderful. And I think that last one is really telling. I think that's almost the most accurate because we don't know exactly. We can't be watching the customer all the way through the process. So as we move on, we know what we can observe, but as we move on, we can see that from a recent study, 84% of smartphone shoppers use the device to shop in store in some way, shape, or form. Take a look at this. Shopping searches are 2 times more likely to happen in the store. And then finally, in store on the mobile device, 33% are checking competitor pricing and 31% are checking product reviews. So thank you all for your response on that side of it. We can see that those customers using devices are overwhelmingly increasing while in the store. Let's talk next about mobile devices and a little bit about mobile devices and current market share. And this is just some recent data to give you an idea around these individual devices and how they are separated out. First of all, we talked about iOS, which would be iPhones and iPads. Android devices would also be tablets as well as phones, and then Windows 8 with phones as well as tablets, and in some cases even computers. So from a market share perspective, when we talk about just smartphones, Android is the clear winner at roughly 75% market share. The Android operating system is on many, many, many different hardware types from many different manufacturers, and it's grown exponentially within the last 2 years. In second place, just for the phones, would be iPhones. iPhones represent somewhere around 17% of the market share, and then behind them would be Windows at roughly 4 or 5%. Now, when it comes to tablets, it's a different story. By overwhelming margin, the iPads dominate the tablet market. Recent study from usage from various data looked at and basically stated 81% was the dominant market share that the iPad had. Android came in second, not too far behind, followed by Windows. Now, in my opinion, these are the top 3 performers right now and the top 3 going forward. You notice I didn't include BlackBerry. BlackBerry's market share continues to dwindle, and it doesn't look like a bright future for the BlackBerry devices. Windows, however, seems to be taking BlackBerry's share of the market and continues to rise as well. And no doubt many of you have seen a lot of Microsoft's advertising to boost that side of it. Okay, and with that, Eliana, I have another question for our dealers around this particular topic from their own insight and from their own data.
Yes, and this is a great question, audience. So as Ben had said earlier, thank you so much for getting involved in our last poll question. We've got another one coming your way if you could look on your screen right now. We want to know what percentage of your website's total traffic is coming from mobile tablets or phones. Now, if you're the average dealership, you're seeing that number has gone up from this time last year. But if you could, what is your current percentage of your website's total traffic coming from mobile tablets or phones? Please select one of the following options. Do you believe it's less than 10%? Is it between 10 and 20%? Is it between 20 and 30%? Is it more than 30%? Or maybe you just don't know. Whatever the answer is, well, we want to know. And once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. Votes are still coming in. Audience, thank you so much for getting involved. I love when you guys get involved and start voting. And it really helps us out. Right, Ben?
It does. Yeah, fantastic.
Because it gives us more insight into what really is happening out there in the dealerships across the nation. So
Absolutely. You guys are on the front line. This is data that's changing by the month, and it's really exciting to see this percentage continue to go up.
You know, it is. You're right, because you know, the dealerships are in here and they're looking at it and they're giving us the current data. But the latest, you know, study that was done might have been done 12 months, 15 months, 20 months ago. You know, so it isn't the latest data; it's the latest that they have. You know, but this is more accurate, I believe. So, audience, thank you so much for getting involved in voting. We're going to close this poll and share the results now. So, no one on today's broadcast said that it was less than 10%. I would have found that very hard to believe if somebody had said it was. But
True.
7% of today's audience said that they believe it's between 10 and 20%. 29% of today's audience, so a third of today's audience, said that it was between 20 and 30%. That is a large chunk of your traffic. 49%, almost half of today's audience, said that their total traffic is over 30% when it comes to mobile tablets and phones. That is huge. Did you think it was going to be that much, Ben?
You know, it's so exciting. That's exactly what I'm hearing from what we see as well. Here's a comparison for everybody. We've been doing this type of polling for about 3 years now. 3 years ago, the majority would be 1 to 2% of all total traffic coming from mobile devices.
What?
We have good data on that. Isn't that incredible?
Really? Really? Well, now it's over 30%. That's like a 1,000% jump or whatever, just from 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's a lot.
We did
Great.
have...
Thank you, everybody, for sharing that information.
Yes, we had 15% of today's audience who said they didn't know. But I'll tell you what, audience, those 15% of you, you're going to go right now and go check out your stats and find out, aren't you?
Hopefully so. It's an eye-opening stat. It really, really is. And it just, again, showcases if we have, 30+%, so for some dealers that's, approaching 40 from my experience, not quite half your traffic. But if you have that big a majority of your traffic, you better have a mobile strategy in place to effectively cater to those customers, because they are shouting out loud that this is the communication channel that they want to utilize. Okay, with that, let's move on. Our second bullet point is around why an app. And really, I think we should cover this from two separate angles. The first is, why an app from the customer side? What value does this provide to me, the customer, to communicate in the mobile app channel? And then secondly, why an app from the dealer's perspective? Why should I invest time, effort, resources, and money in the mobile channel from a marketing perspective? So, the first one, why an app for the customer? What value does it provide to me in interfacing with an automotive dealer? There's many answers. I think we can sum it up in 3. First of all, an app is a quicker, easier access point to the information the customer wants on the go. Sounds simple, right? But the truth is, with one touch, a customer can launch an app and get to whatever they need, whether it's contacting the dealer, inventory, scheduling, service, and the like. And the truth is, that quicker, easier access point, when opposed to doing a Google search, finding a dealership site, sorting through the dealership site to find inventory or service scheduling or whatever, doesn't sound like a lot of work, but the difference is a quick access point can be the difference between an action and an inaction. Secondly, automated. With a mobile app, it allows the customer who wants to interface with the dealer multiple times, think service scheduling, to save that information. So when that customer needs to schedule service the next time, instead of making a phone call, instead of Google searching for the website, finding the service component, filling out a form, et cetera, the automated function of the app is the ability for them to push one button, hit schedule service, and do it right there on their phone while they're on the go. Again, the ability to do that can be the difference between an action and an inaction. And then thirdly, and we're seeing this, a mobile app is becoming one of the preferred channels. In other words, that's the way the customer wants to interface when they shop or they interface with a dealership. That's the reason, that's a couple of reasons for why an app from the customer's perspective. Okay, from the dealer's side, why an app? What benefits does this give to us as marketers? And as always, there's a dollar sign at the end of the game. Driving more sales and service revenue from customers on the go. But step 3, let's get into more detail about what the true value to you, the dealer, is by providing this mobile app communication channel with customers. So before we get there, we have our third out of 4 poll questions. Eliana, if you wouldn't mind taking it away.
All right, audience, here we go. Another poll question coming your way right now. On your screen, you'll see it. It's right in front of you, and the question is, how many times do you look at your cell phone home screen in a day? Oh my gosh, the votes are coming in so fast now. So I know which one I would pick. How many times in a day do you look at your cell phone home screen? So please select one of the following answers. Is it less than 50 times? Is it between 50 and 100 times? Between 100 and 150 times? Do you wish your cell phone was surgically implanted to your hand? Or you don't own a cell phone. You couldn't possibly be in the auto industry and not own a cell phone. So I'm going to...
Well, as folks are voting and thinking about this, let's think through the entire day, right? Do you wake up to an alarm on your smartphone? Do you go to bed listening to the radio or something related to on your smartphone? And then think about everything in between.
Now, Willis wrote in that his cell phone home screen is equal to crack. So thank you so much, Willis. I'm going to take your word for that. But I can honestly say I roll out of, when I wake up, one of the first things I do is I look at my cell phone, see what I missed in the last 8 hours. I know, I could be crazy. I could. But you know what? Audience, you're so good at voting. Thank you so much for participating. We're going to close this poll now and share the results. Almost everyone's voted. Are you ready, Ben?
I'm ready.
We're going to go in order. So only 12% of today's audience will admit to looking at their cell phone less than 50 times in a day. 37%, which seems to be the majority in today's audience, think that they look at their cell phone somewhere between 50 and 100 times. 23% of today's audience said it's more like between 100 and 150 times. And a solid 26% are just like me. They wish it was surgically implanted to their hand. So you would never lose it, and it would always be there. And 2% of today's audience says that they don't own a cell phone, and I don't believe you. So, Ben, is there a study or something that says what the average is on how many times the average person looks at their cell phone?
There is.
There is?
For it?
Yes, I'm ready. Show me.
From Google data as well as Nielsen, 150 is the times the average person checks their phone per day.
I would like to challenge everyone on here, just like tomorrow, normal average work day, just tomorrow, let's say, count how many times you pick up that phone and look at your home screen.
Eliana, you're right on, because we don't realize how many times we look at it per day, because it's just a natural action. This is an average number. This isn't, millennials specifically. This is an average number, and it's just absolutely stunning. So let's move on from that. In green, 32 hours per month are spent on mobile apps. 32 hours are spent on mobile apps. Stunning stat. And then in orange, 15 hours per week are spent on mobile research alone. Okay, so moving on from this, I want to have you think about this for a second. I've got some different companies in here that we all have probably used or visited at one time or another. If you consider it, think about Zappos, for example. If you visited Zappos via your web browser on your phone, gone to zappos.com, maybe usatoday.com on your mobile device, or maybe eBay, any one of these, in many cases, for many, many large top-level marketing organizations, the very first thing that you see is a big splash page that says, download our app. Now, why would they do that? You wanted to go to Zappos to get your shoe shopping on, and you're on the go, and time is money. Or what USA Today, show me the current events. Don't just display this pop-up. So they're risking bounces. They're risking people navigating away, being irritated, whatever it might be, with that huge splash pop-up. Why do these companies do it over and over again? Why do they think it's so important? And the reason is Zappos knows that the next time you're in the market to shop for shoes, USA Today knows the next time you're thinking current events, et cetera, et cetera. The chances of you hitting one button on your phone screen, something that you've seen, by the way, 150 times per day, versus the alternative, which is to go to your browser, do a Google search, or type in an actual domain, the chances of you opening the app are exponentially higher. And so what they've done is they have, in effect, locked you in to their company product or service. I call it the lock-in. The smartphone home screen, in my opinion, is some of the most valuable real estate we have as marketers today. So from an automotive or a dealership example, if we're able, for a customer early in the sales process, to get an app install on their screen, the number one thing these customers are going to in that stage is inventory, inventory, inventory. And so by getting an app install early in the process, we have effectively locked them in to our inventory. So while they're on the go, they jump into the app with one touch in a couple of seconds, search some inventory, jump out, do something else. The lock-in mechanism, if you think about it, really has tremendous value. So think about that home screen, something that not only has branding value because the customer's looking at your logo or your name 150 times per day, if it's still on during the process when it's still on your home screen, and the chances of them, when they're in the mood to search inventory, the chances of them going to your app versus a competitor via Google search are exponentially higher. All right, let's move on to a mobile app. How does it function? Basically, what does it do? And I'm going to quickly just go through some of the obvious stuff and then move into what I consider much more interesting, which are app-only tools that we as marketers can use effectively. So a mobile app really has three phases in my estimation. First is information, that customer who's more casual. With the mobile app, they can get click to call. They can get hours and directions. They can live chat. Some customers are a little farther down the process, more at the pricing or research phase. With the mobile app, they can look at inventory. They can do vehicle research and review. They can get full digital brochures. And then the app has a function post-sale. After the customers purchase the vehicle, there's the ability from the schedule service to do roadside assistance. Mobile coupons and incentives can be sent to the device to keep them coming back and keeping them loyal from a retention perspective. Okay, that's great, all well and good. That's very similar to what your website can provide, and certainly that's available through a mobile app. However, I want to focus on the app-only tools, the specific tools that allow us as marketers to have a new effective channel of communication in a world in which so many are overcrowded and do not perform from an ROI perspective like they used to. First is what's called push notifications. Push notifications are very similar to text messages, but they're not text messages. We know there's recent regulations that came down in the last couple of months limiting what dealers can do with text messaging. Push notifications is a really interesting alternative. Push notifications operate through the app. They appear on the customer's phone looking like a text message, but allows the customers to opt in when they install the app. So in that way, we get an opt-in as per the regulations early in the process. Now, in this case, we can see Pat Loeb has decided to send a message saying, schedule your vehicle service appointment now in 3 easy steps. If the customer engages with that, What happens is the app is opened, it's taken right to the service scheduler, and the customer completes the service scheduling in 3 easy steps. From our side, from a data perspective, I want to just give a peek of what this looks like to you as the dealer, as the marketer, from an analytics perspective. We can see that push notification engaged from the customer, the push notification read, the message displayed, and then next steps action. And because within an app we're able to track every single button push, we can really see the process flow and judge our messaging and our content based upon the analytics in the back section. Okay, now that's push notifications, and there's certainly value there. But I'll argue there's more value if we had the ability to target a particular customer precisely at the time and location where they're about to make a purchase decision. And that leads us to the next and final poll.
Audience, you heard it. We're keeping you busy today. I hope you're enjoying it. Our last poll question is up on the screen. It's an easy one. How valuable would it be to send a coupon or an incentive to your buyer's phone when they are visiting a competing dealership? Please select one of the following options. Is it, yep, I see high value in touching buyers while they shop? Is it targeted messaging based on location? Yeah, I can see some value in that. Or do you just not see the value in it at all? So let us know how you feel about this. Would you find it valuable to send a coupon or an incentive to your buyer's phone at the moment that they're visiting your competition? High value? Yeah, you see some value, or you don't see value at all. Once we get a majority of those votes in, we'll close the poll and share the results. And Ben, someone asked, is this visiting a competing dealership in person or online?
Great question. And to clarify, this is actually physically visiting a competing location.
Because, you know, we've learned in other presentations that shoppers really only go to 1.2 or 1.3 dealerships before actually plunking down some money and driving home in a new car. So you really need to be the first one, if not the second one. You know, you need to be the one or two dealerships, right?
Absolutely. And as those questions come in, remember back to the studies we referenced early on about cross-shopping. And that cross-shopping data is all based upon mobile. And it's higher than the traditional rate. Mobile-specific auto shoppers have a higher cross-shopping rate than traditional.
Okay, so now we're going to close this poll. Ooh. And it's in here somewhere. Let's close this poll and share the results. Well, just as someone might have suspected, 83%, an overwhelming majority of today's very smart audience, says, yup, I see high value in touching buyers while they're shopping my competition. 17% said targeted messaging based on location. Yeah, I can see some value in that. And none of my very smart attendees today said that they didn't see any value in this. So, Ben, where are we going with this now? Is this technology actually like here among us?
Yeah, and it is among us. The thing that we haven't been able to do to this point is exactly what we're talking about. We can touch the messenger with advertising, whether it's a billboard or maybe it's online banner advertising, maybe it's a mass email campaign, maybe it's print, but we don't know for sure that they're right about to make a decision. We can't get that granular. And the only way we're able to do that now today is through the mobile device. And the reason is because the mobile device is with our customer wherever we go. So I want to introduce location targeting. Location targeting allows us as a dealer to identify up to 5 physical locations. And I'll tell you that most dealers typically use those 5 locations to be competing stores, trying to work on cross-shopping and effectively converting those customers. Another use might be for service or post-sale. So that might be quick lube stations like Jiffy Lubes or things of that nature. And what the system does is through the technology, it can detect when that customer has visited or is in the process of being on the lot, let's say, of a competing dealership. Now what's great about this is the phone doesn't need to be turned on. The app doesn't need to be in process. What happens is a message is displayed on that customer's phone at the moment they're on the competing dealership lot. And I can tell you some of the most effective dealerships from a marketing perspective. They choose to utilize coupons or incentives such as best price match guarantee and other things. Specific, really good, targeted incentives that we know will only be delivered to someone who is in the process of cross-shopping. So the value here is the fact that we know we can touch that customer at the specific time they're thinking or about to make a purchase decision. Now, that's location targeting. And from our data, I want to show you from the back-end side a little bit more information on this. We call it LTE, Location Targeting Engagement. I'm going to give you a stat from our data across our entire platform. Location targeting engagement is 63%. What does that mean? That means 63% of the people who got a message, a specific coupon or offer, right at the moment of decision, chose to engage with it via their phone, which then opened up the app and took them right to the offer and allowed next steps. 63%. The process here is similar to push notifications. We can see location messaging engaged, location messaging read, message displayed, and then next steps action. And again, because every button push and every process is trackable and traceable, we can see how the customer interacts with location targeting on the phone. Now, why is it so high? It's so high because we have provided the customer exactly what they want when they want it. So many times in marketing, we're displaying something that we want to provide to them, but the timing's not right. So this is only possible today via mobile because it's a personal device that's on the customers at all times. Let me give you a specific dealer example. This is a Toyota dealer. We can see in this case they have just over 1,500 installs or 1,500 users of the app. And when we say uses, that's actually an open rate. That's how many times the app was opened. We can see that number is 16,331. Now, we refer this to as an MRR rate, or mobile retention rate, and it's simple math, right? It's dividing how many installs we have versus how many times the app is opened. And I can tell you the average number for that is typically right about 3.5 times. So the average user is opening up the app 3.5 times. For this particular dealer, we can see 10.6, which is obviously quite a bit different than 3.5. Why? This dealer chose to utilize location targeting. And we can see here, we broke down within the app what the top actions are. Number one is location targeting. That means 35.4% of the time, those customers who chose to engage with location targeting, what did that do? Well, when they engage with it on their phones, it opens up the app and takes them right to that targeted incentive. So what that does is that affects our open rate. All of a sudden, the number of times the app is opened and utilized is massively impacted, and we get to that 10.6 number. Fascinating stuff. So without location targeting, looking at an average of 3 or 4 times. With location targeting, a substantially higher number. And that's above used inventory. That's above the Toyota showroom. That's above new inventory. And this is a specific dealer case study, and I think it's really eye-opening. Okay, we'll finish up. That's location targeting, one of the features that's available from a mobile app perspective exclusively. Let's go to number 4, app promotion. App promotion is absolutely essential, in my opinion, for an effective marketing strategy. There's 3 best practices I'd like to provide. Early on, for some dealers who were really innovative, they may have built or created or had built a mobile app for their dealership, which is great forward thinking. The problem began around the promotion aspect. They put the app in the marketplace, and guess what? Only a handful of people ever downloaded it. And we know if no one's downloading the app, all the effectiveness of it gets completely wiped away. So that's why app promotion is an essential component, or should be an essential component of your strategy. 3 best practices for you today. The number one way in which we see dealers get mobile app installs is through something called app option code. This is a snippet of code that is actually placed on your dealer's website. It's invisible, doesn't show up to them, but what it does is it auto-detects if your customer is coming to your .com via an iPhone, an Android, or a Windows mobile device. And if they are, there's a little banner that pops down from the top. You can see that from the Weber Chevrolet example, and says, hey, there's an app available. Would you like to download it? And guess what? For a certain percentage of customers say, I'd like to go the mobile app experience. And so we're using, in essence, your .com traffic, because you as a dealer, you're promoting through your marketing budgets your website, your website, your website. And in this case, this is a natural progression. For those who prefer to go to the mobile app site, the mobile website, they can continue that process. Or for those who prefer to go the mobile app route, they can go through it this way. So app option code. Second, some of the most effective dealers that we see are the ones that take team install seriously. That is a salesperson who, when that customer is on the showroom, takes that customer by the hand and says, thanks for visiting me today. Would love to have your business. I see you have an iPhone there. If you don't mind, let's install our dealership app on that device. And that means in one step, you can give me a call. You want to search inventory on a regular basis? Boom, one-touch access. Same thing on the service side. We see dealers effectively, after the customer's purchased the vehicle, saying, hey, let's put our dealership app on your phone after the purchase. And in that way, when you need to schedule service, there's one-touch access. Maybe roadside assistance. Boom, it's right there on the phone. So team install for sales team members as well as service team members in the dealership. And then the third, around app promotion, is using your existing marketing channels. And we're big believers of that promotion toolbox. Customize online, print, and video content sent out via your existing YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, think QR codes. The whole goal around this is to let your customer know, hey, we're mobile friendly. And if you prefer that communication channel, which we see more and more preferring as we move along, that's the route we as a dealer can take with you, and we can communicate in that way. Okay, from app promotion, get to our final point here, analytics. I call it the heartbeat of new channel marketing. Mobile is still a frontier. There's no question it's here to stay. There's no question it's becoming the preferred channel. But with any new channel marketing, we have to look at what's working and what's not working. Because it's so new, we have to rely on our analytics to take a look at it, move things around, rinse and repeat, retry a different way, whatever it is. And without the data, we're blind. So I'm a big proponent for you, those of you who are considering a mobile strategy, make sure you have a solid analytics package on the back end, taking a look at everything from retention rate to those MRR stats, right, location targeting stats, how your messaging's working. And you can do that on a mobile app in a really effective way because every user action on a mobile app is trackable and traceable. We can see that as an example right here. The ability when the start session represents when the customer opens the app, we can see which button or which feature they go to first, where they go to next, and what percentage of the time. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. You guys have been such a great audience. I'm going to give you a little bit on what we talked about. So I made my bold statement at the beginning saying the website is dying. The whole goal there was to say you need to understand really the presence of mobile and its effectiveness as a communication channel. We covered why an app. We covered why the value to the customer. We covered why the value as a marketing channel to the dealer. And then fourthly, we talked about app promotion and the need for it to be effective to have success with the mobile app. And then fifth, analytics and making sure you have the right analytics package as you experiment with new channel marketing. Okay, with that, we get to our Q&A. And Eliana, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ben. Boy, you were right. That was chock full of a lot of information. Audience, it was heavy. It was heavy. Audience, if you have any questions, well, guess what? We are just on the precipice of getting into our live Q&A session with none other than Ben Anderson. So if you have a question and you haven't written it into me yet, then you need to do so now, because guess what? We are just about to start with those questions from you, our wonderful audience. Before we do that, though, we have a little bit of business to take care of. So I hope you'll join me because it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced that our good friends at AutoMotion TV Dealer app are giving away an awesome prize today on the webinar. One of you lucky attendees is going to be winning a $100 Apple gift card. And all you have to do is answer a simple question about the presentation that you just saw. So get ready. Get up to your keyboards because the first one to write in the correct response is going to be walking away with this awesome prize today. And I want to wish everyone good luck. It's my favorite part of the show. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I get to pretend like I'm Monty Hall for a second and ask you this question. Now, seriously, first person to write in the correct response is going to win. So good luck, everyone. Here's your question. What is the name of the mobile technology that allows dealers to incentivize their customers based on their location? What is the name of the mobile technology that allows dealers to incentivize their customers based on their location? And yes, everyone has it right. Let's see. I have to scroll up to see who the winner is. Thank you, audience. Let's see who the first one was. The first one to write in was Brock Askin. He had the first one with the correct answer. The correct answer was location targeting. Very good. Brock Askin, please write on in. Let me know what dealership you're from. And while you're at it, write in with your mailing address. I'm going to write your name down right here. Brock Askin. I don't know any other Brock. Brock, you're the only Brock I know. Congratulations, audience. Thank you so much for playing along. Don't worry, we give away prizes every week. So if you didn't win today, I'm sure there's another chance for you to win later on today, actually. If you fill out the survey, you also have a chance to win a Google prize. We got some really cool Google prizes. And, of course, you can always sign up for next week's as well. And Brock Askin, what dealership are you from, dude? Let me know what dealership you're from. Oh, he's from Canada. Oh, he's with
fantastic.
Aurelia Hyundai Canada. Thank you so much, Brock. Congratulations. And, of course, we want to also thank AutoMotion TV Dealer app for their generosity. Thank you so much. Okay, audience, here we go. Time for some questions from you. Our first question comes to us from Jack. And I think Jack is asking a question that I believe all of us want to know. He says, why can't I create an app myself? Ben, do you have any answer for Jack?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the answers, I look at it in kind of three different ways. Number one, the answer is absolutely you can. And I think the way in which you can go about it is one from scratch. Either you're technically savvy and you want to put together a mobile app. The second is you would hire a development house, an ad agency, or something of that nature to develop a customized mobile app for your store. And then the third way is maybe to select a vendor in the automotive space who has a platform to create a mobile app that allows you to customize as you wish. So under those three ways to go about it, number one is, I would say, probably the toughest. And the problem is not questioning you as an individual, your technical savvy. Mobile development is difficult to do right. Mobile developers are high commodity if they're good. The problem becomes you need to develop on a different code base for each device. You have iOS, you have Android, you have Windows, and the bigger problem becomes the maintenance and the upkeep. Constantly new phones are coming out, the new iPhone 6 or whatever it is, and so if your app isn't technically upgraded and updated constantly, it will crash, and customers will not be able to use it, which is a bad thing. The second one around hiring a development company, that's another good way to go. The problem usually for a dealership or a marketer who's trying to really dip the toe in the water and really test the concept of mobile is that there's a large upfront cost to it. Depending upon what you want to do, that's usually a cost between, it depends, $30 to well over $100,000, depending upon what you want to do for a custom mobile app, which sounds outrageous, but unfortunately the cost and the complexity require that. The other problem with the development route is that updates are going to be something you need to pay for along the way. So the third one, the vendor route, what's nice about that is that's a monthly recurring revenue model, which like many services in the industry. And so we're talking, something much less expensive. Usually we see prices between the $200 to $500 a month range to be on a mobile app with a vendor. If you pick the right vendor, it should still be a very customizable app, allowing you to do exactly what you want. And the great thing about that is you're able to then really prove some ROI. So you're able to get installs, get users on your platform that you're able to market to, and then someday if you wanted to go a different route, a full customized app or whatever it is, there's the ability for you to at least start earlier rather than later. So long question to a short answer.
What? Long answer to a short question. Anyway.
Yes, right.
All right, well, you know what? We have a follow-up question from Karis. Karis said, well, how much would it be to hire an agency to develop an app for us? You said it was more cost-effective to do it the other way, but let's say somebody's got the cashola. How much would it take?
Absolutely. And, it really depends upon what you want to do, but I would say really at probably a bare minimum to do the functionality that would be what you'd want as a dealership, knowing that side of it, not just a simple call me app, for example. We're probably talking $30,000 at the bottom end, and then it goes up from there depending upon how technical you want to get.
Karis, I hope that helped you out. Let's go back up to the top where, she wrote in thanks. There you go. David wrote in quite early with this question as well. He says, this was when you were talking about, why you should have an app, I guess. And David said, don't you have to find the dealer's website in the first place to even download the app? And if so, well, why wouldn't the customer just bookmark that page on the desktop of their phone instead of downloading the app?
Great question.
Okay, wait, before you get to your answer,
yep.
I just want to say, David, I am a closet eBay junkie. And I have the eBay app. And while I love shopping on eBay on my, computer, I do also have it on. I have the app on my phone, and I love it. And same thing with my HuffPost. I love HuffPost, and I read HuffPost more on my phone than I do on my computer. So I'm all over the app. I think having an app is an awesome idea. But Ben, what's your answer? What do you think customers are thinking of when they're deciding whether or not to download an app?
Yeah, David makes an excellent point. And the truth is, no one in the history of mankind is ever going to search an app store for a dealership's mobile app. I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think it ever will happen, right? That's just not the route they go. The truth is, the very first place they go is a Google search. And from that Google search, it is your website. That is the first contact point and should be the first contact point. And a mobile site is a great reference tool for that, for those who want to go that direction. Now, Eliana, you nailed it on the head, which is to say that eBay app you didn't come to just once. You come to multiple times, correct? And so we know from the data, Google, Nielsen, other studies, Flurry Analytics data, a mobile app is accessed 3 or 4 times more often than a mobile website. Let me say that again. A mobile app is accessed 3 or 4 times more often than a mobile website. So the pathway in is the dealer site, an app install, so that we can keep that customer coming back to us, locking us in, obviously, during the process, more times. Hope that's clear.
Great question, David. I'm with you on this, though. Okay, next question comes to us from Bob. Great question from Bob. Are there any numbers from surveys about how many device users leave their location on versus turning it off? Now, that's a great question. Not everyone has their GPS on when it comes to their cell phones. So,
yep, another great question. So what we have there, unfortunately, is data that we're not able to get access to. It's a great question. I'd love to see the data as well. The problem is Apple and Android keep that as a privacy setting.
What?
So when you download the app, no, absolutely. When you download an app, you're able to opt in to sharing your location. You're able to opt in to push notification messaging. You're also able to opt out. And so the question is around how many people typically opt out the entire time and how many people opt in. Well, that data is that data Apple has, that data Android has, and they do not provide it to developers at this point.
But I will say this, if you have, most people are really, really up on social media. So especially like for me, Facebook, I'm on Facebook all the time, right? And I check in all the time at different places. I have to have my location on in order to do so. So I'm just guessing, but I would...
Yep, right, and to follow up with that, if we have to provide value as a dealer, right? If we don't provide value in that stage, then they won't turn it on, right? And so that's where location targeting comes into play. We're able to deliver the precise message that helps or aids the customer at just the right time. That is the opposite of spam in that way. And so in that case, it becomes more of an incentive and makes more sense for the customer to opt in to sharing their location.
Bob, great question, like I said. Now, Chuck has a very forward-thinking question, and I'm so surprised that this one came up on my screen, so I want to give some props up to Chuck for writing this one in. He says, with the rise of responsive web design, how are apps changing? And by the way, just want to say, last week at NADA, DealerOn did in fact launch our brand new responsive web design. So if you haven't seen it or you want to see it, please get in touch with us over here at DealerOn. We are all over that responsive web design thing. So Ben, with responsive web design, how are apps changing?
Great question again, and I'm going to respond to Bob's. I forgot to, which is about the bookmarking aspect of it. So let's combine this into both. So first of all, from the responsive website side, absolutely, clearly a huge advantage. So no matter which device you're on, the information is displayed correctly. We just did a contrast and compare the difference between a mobile website and a mobile app. And what I was trying to make clear and helpful is the fact that because of the extra tools that a mobile app provides us as marketers, meaning us, the dealership, those tools are not available via a mobile site. So a mobile site's a great quick access point, right, for information for that customer on the go. But for us to maintain a long-term relationship, and again, provide a sticky communication channel, we should and want to prefer or push the customer down the mobile app install route. It gives us better access for locking in the customer, communicating with the customer, et cetera, et cetera. Now, back to Bob's question. Well, why can't they just bookmark it, right? I go to the mobile site on my iPhone, and I hit the bookmark button, select bookmark, and I save it to my desktop. And you can do that. And by saving it to the desktop, it kind of looks like an app. It's a little icon sitting there, right? And it's a really smart, and logically it makes sense. Here's the problem. And go ahead and you can verify this with your research as well. When we look at the percentages of the number of people that take that action, like go to the mobile website and then bookmark it, it's less than 5%. And so we contrast that with the mobile app install. The way in which Apple and Android's systems are designed, when you install an app, you have no choice, but that app icon is installed to your desktop. You can move it off, you can delete it, you can do whatever you want, but during the initial install phase, we take up valuable home screen real estate because that's the way that Apple and Android have dictated the process. Hope that makes sense.
It does, and of course I want to thank Chuck for great question, and also to tell David, I know it wasn't Bob's question, it was your question, David.
Sorry.
But Bob had a great question too, so there you go. I have great questions all around today. Okay, let's get to this one. I want to, Chuck did have a follow-up question. Let's see. Follow up on the responsive web design. Apps being sticky is good for the dealer. How is it good for the consumer versus using an RSW site?
Yeah. So basically, we see the channel. We see how the value is increased to the dealer, right? Accessing the dealer 3 or 4 times more often is a substantially great thing, right? For the customer, let's go back to that home screen placement. Why is it better for the customer? Well, the customer, while they're in the shopping process, wants to go to one thing. It's the number one data we see. It's inventory, inventory, inventory. And by providing a tool that with one touch can get them there within 5 seconds versus the process of doing a web search, because let's be real. Here's what happens. When a customer, let's say they're not using an app, let's say they're going the mobile website route, they start their search by Googling Chevrolet Sonic New Orleans, because we were just there. They do the Google search term, different competing dealer sites come up, they select one, they then click on inventory, and they scroll down and search inventory. Now, that's not the only search they're going to do. If and when they come back, let's say 3 days later, I'm interested again, I want to see what's available. Do you think they're going to go through their browser history on their phone to find which dealership they were looking at? No, they're going to re-Google the same search terms all over again. So now as a dealer, we're paying Google's PPC, pay per click, and we're now also put ourselves back into the pool of competition in case that customer goes to a different dealer's website. So from the customer standpoint, the ability for them to access inventory within 5 seconds means that they're going to do it more often, and it's also more convenient to them.
Thank you so much for the great question, Chuck. Okay, I do want to get to this question from Heidi, and she says, and it's probably more for me, but I'm just going to answer it anyway. Would DealerOn offer a mobile app if our dealership does not have a DealerOn website? Heidi, thank you so much for the question. Unfortunately, I don't believe DealerOn actually does apps. That's why we deal with great companies like AutoMotion TV Dealer app so that you can get the very best app for your buck. So I'd have to refer you over to Ben if you did, in fact, want a mobile app. Ben?
Yeah, and to respond, Eliana, you probably don't know this, but we do a lot of business back and forth with DealerOn. Great company and people. We have a lot of clients that have DealerOn sites, and we love those clients because they get it. They're usually really forward-thinking. And so our technology actually integrates with DealerOn's technology from the website. So, of course, I'd be happy to chat with you about that if it's of interest.
Yes, and Heidi, one of these days I hope you'll come on board with DealerOn. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, let's get on to this next question. We only have a couple more questions left for you, okay, Ben? And which is pretty good because I really thought we were going to go way over on time. So thank you so much for sticking around. All right, here we go. This one comes to us from my friend Willis. Willis, how you doing, dude? Okay, so Willis says, would a customer have to have your app to get hit with location targeting? He also has a follow-up question, but let's get through that first question first. So would a customer have to have your app to get hit with location targeting?
Great question. And the answer is yes. They have to have installed the app at some process point. Otherwise, we have no ability from a technology side to know their location, if that makes sense. So what we're utilizing with location targeting is a mandate that meets Apple's privacy policy as well as Android's privacy policy, which means anonymously your phone is constantly communicating with Apple's servers. I know that sounds scary, but it knows where you are located. And the only way in which that technology can work is through the mobile app platform that's tied in with Apple's servers, if that makes sense. And so from a process standpoint, process flow, when we talk about cross-shopping, we're looking for that app install early in the process, right? That customer who's just starting to work with a dealership, not quite yet at the pricing or cross-shopping angle. We want to get that installed firsthand at the top level, get them to install it, and then we have access to use location targeting. Also, think about location targeting used on the backside post-sale, right? We have a lot of dealers that use it with success in the service side. That means they purchased the vehicle, maybe had a team install where that customer has the app on the phone after they purchased the vehicle. And now if they were to visit maybe a competing service center at Jiffy Lube or things of that nature, we can send a targeted coupon for an oil change offer or the like right to their phone.
Now, thank you so much for the great answer. Willis also, actually a couple of people wanted to know, I think in the question he put your app. So I guess what we also want to know is, does AutoMotion TV Dealer app, are you guys the only one with that location targeting function?
The answer is yes. We pioneered it about 9 months ago.
Whoa.
It's not an easy technology. There is another technology that's similar that's called geofencing. What location targeting combines is geofencing with a lot of other data to pinpoint that customer's location with accuracy. And the problem with traditional just geofencing is that geofencing provides a lot of false positives. And essentially what that means is we combine Wi-Fi, we combine GPS data, and we throw out bad data. And with geofencing, the risk and what can and does tend to happen is that coupon or offer gets sent multiple times, maybe 10 times within 5 minutes.
Ugh.
Why does it do that? Well, GPS by default isn't 100% accurate. So you ever notice when you're on a map program and all of a sudden your location jumps somewhere else in the world and then jumps back? Well, geofencing thinks that you've teleported somewhere and then teleported back to the dealer lot, and it sends another message again and again and again. And when that customer gets an onslaught of messaging like that, guess what they do? If it's negative on your dealership.
I know what I would do. I would
get rid of it.
Get rid of that app.
Absolutely. So that's just a piece to say we pioneered it. We've been through some of the initial challenges, if you will, and developed a system around it to ensure accuracy in deliverability. And it's just not something that's super simple. So we call it location targeting. It includes geofencing and some other technologies to achieve that.
Wow, that's really, really impressive. Great question, Willis. Willis actually had a follow-up question, too. He says it's kind of off topic, but somewhat relevant. With the upcoming release of Paper, will Facebook ads be seen through Paper? Paper is a Facebook app coming out for iPhone on February 6th. Ooh, just in another few days, which is rumored to be a better version of the actual Facebook app. So is that, Ben, do you have any knowledge about Paper app as an app, and will Facebook ads be seen through Paper?
I don't, but I hope it's okay if I just share an opinion. I think it's fascinating, and it's relevant, I think, to our context, and that is, remember at the top I said the website is dying? For those of you that know, a Facebook-like app, sort of, called Snapchat, recently got valued at just under $4 billion.
I heard that. That's crazy.
Why?
I don't know.
I'll tell you why. When I talk about a channel dying, the website dying, Facebook is scared to death of mobile. They know it's the future communication channel, and they know that they dominate on the web through websites. And so Snapchat has taken a bunch of the legacy users. Again, Facebook became everything from college back to parents to grandparents, right? Everybody jumped on it, and they didn't pay a lot of attention to privacy settings, right? There was all of that stuff that came about. The point is they put their eggs in the basket of what they were doing and expanded it. Facebook knows they have to become dominant on mobile. If they don't become dominant on mobile, the carriers and the manufacturers, think Apple, Samsung, think Google, who own the space, if they own the devices and own the app stores, they can, in a way, squeeze out Facebook down the line. So that's just a personal opinion. Caveat, that's a personal opinion. But that's why you see Facebook doing what they're doing right now with Facebook Home for Android and probably with Paper and some other routes, is to really make sure that they do everything possible not to lose mobile.
You want a shocking statement. Our attendee, David, wrote in, Snapchat is making Facebook the new MySpace. Ouch, David. Okay, well, thank you so much. Great question, Willis. One more great question comes to us from Brock, our winner, Brock. And had I not officially known for a fact that Brock did not work for you, Ben, I would think he worked for you. Brock says, who's the best app company right now? And I would have to say right now. I'm pretty sure I know how Ben's going to answer this.
Brock, you don't need to, you already won the prize.
He actually, in his defense, he actually wrote that question before he won the prize.
Oh. That's awesome. That's really funny. When it comes to your choice, just like anything in the vendor market, there are a few choices. We are the leader in the mobile segment specifically for dealers. It's the only thing we do. We don't do other industries. We focus just on the dealer with our platform, with the whole goal of providing the very best product. So of course I'll say it's us, but I want to make a point really, really clear. I shared some technologies that are cool and amazing and interesting, and there's certainly just a ton of value in the future. we are just scratching the surface of eventually what we can do from a technology side through mobile. It is so personal. It's carried on the customers, with the customer, I should say, at all times. And so what I get excited about is our product from the very, very beginning was set up in a way in which all upgrades and new technology are free. So that means you come on with us early. Now, anything that we do, and we're constantly innovating, you'll get a free upgrade. You're not going to pay for it over and over and over again. And that's our goal, to have long-term relationships with innovative dealers who really want to rule this particular space. And I think that's important because, like I said, we're just scratching the surface. There's all these whiteboarded concepts that we have that we're looking to do in 2014, and I get really, really excited when we do that. And for us, it's just all about a rollout schedule, doing that as fast as possible, and then of course, bringing on good, innovative dealers that continue the success story and kind of help evangelize and shout out the news. So to answer Brock's question, I would say definitely we're the leader right now. There certainly are some other choices that you have out there, and you should certainly obviously cross-shop like we talked about and take a look at everybody's approach.
And you know what? That was going to be my last question, but Bob swooped on in with like the awesome question. So I have to hand it to Bob. Bob, you're going to be my last question of the day. Ben, great question from Bob. What CRMs are integrated or compatible with this location-targeted AutoMotion TV dealer app?
It's an interesting question, Bob. There's not actually a direct correlation between the CRM and the location targeting specifically. And the reason is because I think what you're getting at is the ability for us to identify exactly who the customer is, name, address, phone number, everything else. That information is diligently protected by Apple and by Android in the privacy policies. And it makes sense, right, from a privacy perspective. Would you guys like that I could track everywhere you were at every single moment in time? It's a pretty scary world if that's the case. And so you may have heard of shall I say, shadier mobile app companies, not in this space, but just in general, that have tried sneaky ways to get around it to identify that customer directly. And the negative PR is absolutely overwhelming. And so we as a company, you as a dealer, don't want to be involved in that privacy space. Location targeting as it sits allows us to target that customer based on their location, but their name, address, phone number is all still anonymous, and it's based on Apple server. So hopefully that answers.
Huh. Even if they download the app directly from your website?
Correct.
Wow.
All protected diligently.
Bummer. That would have been such a good idea. But I thought that was a great question, Bob. And yes, I'm sure his name is Bob, David. Okay, we're going to close this show up. Ben, fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I got to say, I learned a lot. I know our attendees did as well. Attendees, I want you to know that I'm going to be sending you the link to this webinar recording like just in a few hours, as soon as I can get it up, all right, online.
And Eliana, I just want to thank everybody. I know you're all very, very busy individuals. Thanks for taking a minute with me. And please reach out. I love talking mobile, even if it's strategy or ideas or concepts that you have and how we, get better with this communication channel. I would love to discuss it. So thanks again for your time.
Excellent. And take him up on it. He's really one of the nicest guys in the auto industry. So if you have a question, you want to reach out to Ben, definitely do so. Like I said, the link is going to be sent to you in just a few minutes. It's also going to be posted online at dealeron.com/webinars. And over there you can click on the link to get your on-demand webinars. The most recent one is up at the top. And you can also view and sign up for our upcoming webinars too. And hey, this webinar is going to close up in just another minute. You're going to get a short survey. Please fill it out. We're always looking for great feedback. Please let us know how you thought Ben did today. And today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So if you want another chance to win, there's your shot. Now, invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next webinar. How to make your ad dollars work harder. Yeah, if your dealership currently allocates $100,000 or less every month for advertising, well then you're well aware that you need to make every dollar count. However, each month, countless dealerships nationwide waste thousands of dollars on ineffective advertising efforts. Are you one of them? The industry is no longer experiencing success with traditional mediums, so it's vitally important that your dealership employ a strong, comprehensive advertising strategy focused on targeting and converting as many car buyers as possible. John Fitzpatrick is familiar with the obstacles that dealers face and is here to give you the keys to making your advertising dollars work harder. He'll describe how to best align your efforts across 3 specific channels to gain leads and increase your total units sold consistently every month. In this 1-hour webinar, he's going to share a plan for advertising success that will give you the biggest bang for your buck. Stop wasting your money. If you're finally ready to maximize your advertising dollars in this changing society and harsh economy, well then this is one webinar you just can't afford to miss. It's going to be another fabulous presentation by your friends at DealerOn. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have some awesome webinar subjects planned for 2014. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, please feel free to contact me directly. Again, my name is Eliana Raggio. I love hearing from you, and I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and on all the automotive social networks, so track me down online or email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next week.